Hi guys, so this is a video about circles intersecting axes. So you know that we've got an x-axis and we've got a y-axis on every coordinate graph. So the x-axis is always the one going across, so that's the x-axis, and the y-axis is the one going up and down. So if you read over here, so circles intersecting axes, the y always equals 0 on the x-axis, and x always equals 0 on the y-axis. So what I mean by that is, I'm just going to go through here. I just want to show you here first. If I was to pick out some points that are on the x-axis, so if I was to pick out what that point there is, so the coordinates of that point are 4, 0. So you can see there that the y value, so that's the x value, that's the y value, is 0. If I was to ask what is this point here on the graph, that point is -2, 0. So you can see again the y value is 0 there. And if I was to ask you just to demonstrate once more, what is that point there? That point is 7, 0. So again, the y value is always 0. So that's what I mean by this point up here in the top left corner. The y always equals 0 on the x-axis. So for every point on the x-axis, y will be 0. Similarly then, on the y-axis, so if we just look at the y-axis, if I was to ask what is the point there, that point there is 0, 5. That's the point 0, 5. This point here is the point 0, -2. This point here is the point 0, -7. And you could do that for all of the points down along it if you want, but you'll see in all of them the x value is always 0. And that's what we mean by the second point there then, that the x is always 0 on the y-axis. So for every point on the y-axis, x is always 0. So try to bear that in mind as we're looking through this. Therefore, to find points of intersection with the x-axis, let y equal 0. To find points of intersection with the y-axis, let x equal 0. So all we mean is when something intersects the x-axis, y has to be 0. So if I was a line there, that point there is obviously the point 6, 0. So the y is 0 on it. So if I want to find out, and this is really where we're going with this, we're going to be looking at circles in a minute. If I want to find out what point will the circle intersect the x-axis at, I let y equal 0. If I want to figure out where it intersects the y-axis, so it would intersect the y-axis there and there, I would let x equal 0. So whichever axis is being intersected, you let the other one equal 0. And then it tells you where exactly it will intersect it at. So let's have a look at the two examples here. So there's two examples here. First one, the circle, find the coordinates of the points at which the circle x squared plus y squared equals 16 intersects the x-axis. So because we're trying to find where it intersects the x-axis, that means I let y equal 0. So I'm going to let y equal 0 in that equation. So x squared plus y squared equals 16. And I'm just going to let y equal 0. So x squared plus 0 squared equals 16. So 0 squared is just 0. So I get x squared equals 16. And then what I need to do is I need to find the square root of 16, so x equals square root of 16. Now, if you didn't remember, the square root of 16 will actually have two answers, because there's two things that you can multiply by themselves to get 16, and they are -4 and 4, because -4 multiplied by -4 equals positive 16, and 4 multiplied by 4 is positive 16. So there's two possible values for x. So x equals -4 or 4. And then because you know the x values. X could be -4 or 4. My 2 points will be -4, 0, because remember I've let y be 0 at the top here. So the points are -4, 0 and 4, 0. So -4, 0 and 4, 0. And just remember on the graph then the points -4, 0 is there and the point 4, 0 is there. So we know that this circle intersects those points there. So it intersects the x-axis at those points. So the circle really then has to look like that. But you weren't asked to, and that's a very bad drawing. So you weren't asked to draw the circle, but just that. But it's just to bear in mind that that's what it's telling us. Right, the second example then. So the circle x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 10 intersects the y-axis. So we're trying to find where does that circle intersect the y-axis. So if we have a think about that circle anyway, because we have a plus 3 there, we know that and a minus 2 there, the center of that circle is -3, 2. -3, 2, that's the center of the circle, and 10, so the square root of 10 is the radius. So we should know that from before. But we don't even really need to know that to do this question. So because we're looking for where it intersects the y-axis, I'm going to let x equal 0. So remember, you let the other one equal 0. So to find where it intersects the y-axis, you let x equal 0. So I'll write that in even. So let x equal 0. So then if I'm to write out that equation, x plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 10. I'm going to put in a 0 instead of the x. So I get 0 plus 3 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 10. And then I'm trying to solve from there then to find out what y is. So 0 plus 3 is 3, so I'm just going to get 3 squared there, plus, and then I can change y minus 2 squared into y minus 2 equals 10. So 3 squared is 9, plus, and then I can multiply out these brackets. So I do the y times y, then y times minus 2, then I do minus 2 times y, and minus 2 times minus 2. So this is expanding double brackets. So y squared minus 2y minus 2y plus 4 equals 10. So I get 9 plus, and then I can do y squared. So minus 2y is minus 4y plus 4, and then I can put all the like terms together. So 9 plus 4 would be 13, and then if I bring across the 10 to the other side, or subtract 10 both sides, I get 3. So y squared minus 4y plus 3 equals 0. And what you've got here is actually you've got a quadratic So to factorize this quadratic on the left hand side, you must find two numbers that multiply to give you 3 and would sum to give you minus 4. So y and y and equal 0. So my two numbers are going to be minus 3 and minus 1, or you could put them in the other brackets if you want, so you could switch them around, so minus 1 and minus 3. So I'm getting two values in, so either y minus 3 equals 0 or y minus 1 equals 0. So if y minus 3 equals 0, then y equals 3. If y minus 1 equals 0, then y equals 1. So I'm going to get two values then. I'm going to get 2 points. So remember, so back at the start, I subbed in 0 for x, therefore my x value is 0 and my y value is 3. And for the second point then, my x value is 0 and my y value is 1. So second example is obviously a lot trickier than the first example. So you'll see in this part in here, I had to, well, not really that part, but well, really all of that part of it there, I had to expand double brackets. So expanding double brackets. And then down here, I had to factorize a quadratic. So those are two parts of algebra that you need to have understood and be able to understand before you're able to get this whole question. So have a look back at those two sections in particular, and obviously then you need there was a little bit of work with moving things across the equal sign and manipulating equations as well.